What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Park Lane Podcast, episode number 104. There's only two of us today, myself, Luke, and also Winnie. Winnie, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. It's do you know what? It does feel good to be back. I must admit. Obviously, I've had a bit of a short break off air. We did just try and work out how long it's been since I've been on a show, and we couldn't even work it out. So that's how long it's been. But look, when everyone else has deserted you, look who's back. Look who's back to save the day.
Exactly. Without you, mate, I'd have been sat here on my Todd. So I'm glad.
Nobody wants that.
No, exactly. I'm glad you made it, mate. For those new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. We are just over 1,000 subscribers, so keep going and let's grow it as much as we can. Also, share it with your mates, share it with your nans. You know, nans love us, so why not continue spreading the love? But anyway, let's get to it. Let's chat to a few people actually, first of all, in the chat, because as always, good friend Jay is in the chat, said evening. Johnny D is also in the chat. Evening, Johnny. Holly Agenbar is also somewhere about, or she was. So evening, Holly. But yeah, let's get cracking and let's not spend too long talking about today's match, because I don't really want to. I had to sit through 2 hours of watching the thing. I don't think I want to spend a lot of time talking about it. But, you know, we've got to do it justice, being a Spurs podcast and whatnot. So let's talk about this game today, because we lost 1-0 away at Crystal Palace. And, you know, me and Wes talked about it last week. Crystal Palace haven't won a single game all season. They lost 2-1 on Monday night against Nottingham Forest, and they beat us 1-0. Like, typical, isn't it?
Look, I was watching the Forest Palace game on Monday, praying for a Crystal Palace win, because there's going to be a shift of momentum at some point. There's no way they're going to carry on without a win. There's no way. And what, you know, Dr. Tottenham and all that crap that comes with it. It was inevitable, I think, if I'm honest, that today. In fact, sorry, complete brainwave. What was my prediction?
Yeah, we will get onto your predictions. Yeah,
we'll speak again. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, we'll get onto that. So stay tuned for that. By the way, people. You know, just gonna say I got the correct score, but anyway, you know, it's a potential banana skin. I never fancy us away at Palace. I don't know what our record is like away at Palace, to be perfectly honest, but it's just one of those grounds where they get it rocking, and you know. The reason why I think it was you know, a potential banana skin is because I seem to think for some reason this Tottenham team, that, like, although I love this current crop of players and, you know, the players we've got and the football we play, even though some people think it's shit and whatever, I thoroughly enjoy it. However, we are susceptible to rocking under pressure. When like we saw it at Leicester. We were under the cosh when they scored, when Vardy equalised, and the crowd was just electric. Our players just absolutely shit the pants. For some reason, when momentum shifts, we really, really shit it. So for me, that's why I was a little bit dubious about today. But look, they've got to win at some point, and unfortunately, it was against us.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going through that list now, mate, actually. You know, not pretending like I know any stats, because last week I tried to do that and I ended up talking bollocks. So let's actually read from a piece of paper today. So obviously they beat us 1-0 today. We beat them 2-1 the last game. We beat them 4-0 in the last game before that. What else? They beat us 3-0. It was a draw. A draw. So, you know, it's not amazing. Like, we don't go there and, you know, and turn Palace over every time. No. So you're probably quite spot on. One of my big issues with this Spurs team, and, you know, I'm going to go on to Ange Postecoglou in a minute, because I know that some people want to talk about that. Neither you or I do, but I think some people do. The big issue with this Spurs team is we cannot break a low block, and every single team now is tactically better than we are in terms of sitting back and being able to counterattack. Even today, you know, I saw that Will Hughes today, probably one of the worst Premier League players, in my opinion, that exists, looked like prime Roy Keane in the middle. He was just smashing people up. He was winning the ball back. Spurs didn't even get going, not for 1 minute today. And the issue is that we cannot cope with a low block, high press. Yes. It's as simple as that. Like, I know nothing about football tactics, but watching enough Spurs, I can figure it out, right? We can't cope with it. Teams win the ball back. They play it out wide to the spaces where our fullbacks have come inside, and it happens every single time. You know, my big issue is, like, when are we going to be able to cut down these low blocks? When are we be able to tactically change up to surprise teams? But I don't know what else you do, because when teams know what you're going to do and they just set up with a low block, how are you meant to combat that?
I genuinely think there's only potentially 2 teams in the Premier League that would be able to break down a low block, and that's Man City and Liverpool. I think the only teams, because they've got, and I mean, but the thing is, obviously the Man City one's obvious. They've got KDB when he's fit and available. But even aside from him, they've got players that can pick locks in defences and break the lines and stuff like that. Liverpool on paper don't have that kind of player, but they just have the knack. For some reason, Liverpool have that knack of breaking teams down. So I think there's only 2 teams that can beat a low block. Well, a blow lock, fair enough. Yeah, no, there's only potentially 2 teams that can. So it's just a tactic. It's as simple as that. Teams know now if they set up a low block against us. I mean, West Ham tried to do it previous, and it bloody worked first half, didn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah. And then for some reason they switched it up and tried to come out and have a go at us, and we scored three goals in. If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. It's as simple as that. And West Ham.
My issue is why does every team not just low block against the opposition and then win the game?
Why don't we do it?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? We hate a low block, but we love a blow lock.
A blow lock, we do love a blow lock.
Yeah, it's mental, mate, isn't it? Because the one person I feel particularly sorry for today is Mikey Moore. He had a great game in Europe, and then he gets his first Premier League start, and I think a lot of eyes are on him to do something, and that's I think the issue, and why Ange doesn't pick him very often as well, is because of things like that. But I didn't think he looked out of place today. I just felt like he was a bit tired probably from midweek, and also it was just a really tough game today.
Like you say, I mean, in hindsight, Crystal Palace away probably isn't the best game to chuck a youngster in. However, we are talking about someone who took the stage on Thursday night and absolutely ripped it up. So, but then you could argue that is a completely different kettle of fish to the Premier League. So, look, again, he didn't look out of place, but I think what happened is too many people were looking to him and expecting a lot from him. So, he would have had to have done something exceptional to kind of live up to what people was hoping he was going to do, like wrap one in the top bins from 30 yards or something like that. So it is a bit unfair on him, but at the same time, look, credit to him, and I suppose credit to Ange for chucking him in there, because I'm not sure if we saw his interview, or it was one of the interviews where he said, "I think he's ready for the Premier League." And I think that was probably after Thursday night. So he thinks he's ready. We all think he's ready. So it's good to see, and hopefully we'll see him chucked in there a bit more than we have done already. But looking at the options, we weren't really blessed on the left. I didn't fancy Richarlison out there, and I definitely didn't fancy Werner. I don't think Ange fancies Werner out there anymore. So it was the logical choice to put Mikey out there. But you know what, his time will come, and I have no doubt. If you keep repeating it, it's gonna crack at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Johnny's hit the nail on the head actually for once. He said you don't do a low block because you're the worst team in the world at the low block. Highline fits you better. You had a low block with Antonio Conte, and well, we all know what happened there.
Fair shout.
Look, I don't think anybody today played well. Not one single player in that Spurs team. I have no idea what's happened to James Maddison. I don't know what has happened. I don't know.
He's just fell off big time.
Kulusevski wasn't really on it today. He got frustrated early, got a yellow card, and then he was like pretty much just a red card waiting to happen in my eyes for a long time. Solanke again, it's really difficult for Solanke, and this is why I'm never going to point a finger at him, because it's really difficult for any striker to try and play against a low block, which is who is sitting on the edge of their 18-yard box.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a player who is better with your back to goal. You can run in behind, various attributes, but when the teams aren't allowing you to be able to play to those attributes, what else are you meant to do? The crosses have got to be perfect. The balls too have got to be pinpoint, and I just don't know if anybody, mate, played well today. What do you think?
No, I don't think we can sit there and look at that performance and go, do you know what? He's had a good game, because it was an absolute stink fest. It's as simple as that. All of the problem is we've had some really, really good performers recently. Like Kulusevski has been 10 out of 10 every single game. Like, he's been on fire. Solanke, like, I know he's not absolutely smashing them in, but I mean, Solanke against West Ham for me was man of the match. He was absolutely phenomenal. And I don't want to make the comparisons because there is only one Harry Kane, but I saw glimpses of Harry Kane in that performance with Dom Solanke. You know, just the way he was getting the ball into his feet with his back to the defender, and he was pinging it off left and right. He was turning on a sixpence. He was incredible. So I'm not going to sit there and point fingers at people. Look, not people won't like this. However, we are on the back of winning like 7 out of 9 games. Now, I know people will go, okay, well, you beat a Coventry, you beat Qarabag, you can only beat who's in front of you. You can and they're still professional footballers. They're still professional football teams. You know, the ones we're playing in Europe, regardless of what country it is, they're still like one of the best teams within their country. So they're there for a reason. So I don't buy into this. You've only beat these. You've only beat them. That's still a phenomenal run. Now, of course, and even so, the Brighton capitulation aside, we'd have been looking even rosier.
Yeah.
So look, I'm not gonna. You know me. I'm certainly not gonna be the one that sits here and goes, "Oh my God, we were shit. This was shit. Ange was shit. Ange out. All this crap." Like, I'm trying to be more positive this year because I can kind of see, what we're trying to do and what kind of direction we're going in. But it's going to take time to do it. So I'm, trying to be a bit more positive this year and just go, look, it'll click eventually. And again, I say it'll click eventually. We've just come back off the back of winning 7 out of 9 games. So we need to be a bit more realistic that we are going to lose. Like, we're not going to be the Invincibles. We are going to lose some games. And if I'm honest, looking at the list of games we've had, Crystal Palace away is probably one I would have picked out and gone, we're probably not going to win there. And that's what's happened. So, but going back to what you said, I can't sit there and go, he was brilliant, he was good, he's done, because, at the end of the day, it was a stinky performance. But, we just move on to the next one.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about Ange quickly now you've mentioned that because, Dave in our group has lost his head today.
He's gone.
And I'm going to read his message out that he wrote just so that everyone's aware. He said, Ange should really be under a little bit of pressure. Not that I want him to be sacked, but any other manager under Daniel Levy loses their job by now, right? Now, I just want to let you all know, Tottenham currently sit 8th in the Premier League, right? 5 points, 4 points off 5th, 5 points off 4th, 8th in the Premier League. And people are already talking about, this manager should be looking like, if there's any other manager, they'd be sacked by now. Like, what do you make of that? Like, we know what Daniel Levy is like when it comes to managers. Do you think that's an accurate statement that any other manager would be sacked, just not Ange?
No, Dave, I love you to bits, mate. But that, honestly, when I saw that in the group chat, it's absurd. Like, we're talking about someone who is still new to the Premier League for a start. He's new to all of that. He's new to Tottenham Hotspur still. So, I know Levy can be a bit cutthroat. But, we've only got to look as far as Nuno, I suppose, to think of how cutthroat he can be. But, I mean, look, that was drastic. I can still sit there and see glimpses of what Ange wants. And, I am torn because some people will go, when he comes out in interviews and they go, do you not fancy shutting up shop a little bit or whatever? And he's like, it's just not what I do, mate. It's not what I do. Do you know what I mean? He's like, what do you want me to do? Like, if I've spent my whole life doing this, why change it? Because that's what he wants to do. That's what he wants, and that's what he wants his teams to do. So, repetition. It's going to click at some point. But no, I think it's absolutely absurd to even be talking about Ange in the same breath as anyone getting the chop. He's won 3 out of 3 in Europe as well. Tinkering with the side and stuff like that. Let's be honest, the sides that we've been putting out in Europe have been our second string, bar a few people. Let's go back to when we was when we was in the Europa League last time, or even as far as the Champions League. If we ever put our second string out, wow, we're talking absolute donkeys. No disrespect to them, but we're putting out Oliver Skips, we're putting out Tangangas, we're putting out, I don't even know who. Do you know what I mean? Like Sanchez, Sessegnon, all these people. We didn't even have a backup striker, so we'd be playing. Well, we've had to play Kane, to be honest, even when we probably shouldn't have had to. But so and the teams we've been putting out in Europe this year, you know, they've been our second string, but I've been looking at it going, I still fancy us. I fancy us to win this. And that's not because the Europa League is a shit competition, because, you know, with its rights, there's some teams in that Europa League this year that are fucking really, really good sides. Your Galatasarays, your Romas, your Man Uniteds, etc. You know, European pedigree. So, but, you know, going back to your question, no, Dave is not correct with his statement. In my opinion, there's a lot more managers out there that should be, you know, above Ange for looking at to get the chop. One being Ten Hag for a start. But again, look, if they want to stick by him, fair play. You know, they want to go through that. They want to go through the tough days to potentially get some good ones. That's what it is. But no, for me, Ange is doing a fantastic job. And, you know, people probably go, oh, that's a bit of a strong word to use. But I really do. I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's had to overhaul the squad completely. And he's done that. And now it's going to take time for everything to click. So we can't expect, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So,
look, I completely agree with you. Like, what else do you want? You know, we tried, you know, a Jose Mourinho. That was horrific. We tried an Antonio Conte. Oh my God, I nearly gave up supporting Spurs into Antonio Conte. And, you know, now we've gone for a manager who, you know, has done it the hard way and has, you know, worked his way through various leagues, through various countries, and has finally come to the Premier League. And he's trying to, you know, bring back a style of football that Tottenham Hotspur fans want. And yet when we don't win, we throw our toys out the pram. Like, I don't really know what you expect. You know, we haven't, it's not like Arne Slot that's come in and taken over a Liverpool side that's got Mohamed Salah, Diaz, Jota, Nunez, Gakpo, all of your starting strikers. I take any of those at Spurs right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, not to mention Van Dijk at the back. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many, Alisson in goal, you know, so many things that other managers have and we haven't got. He's not going out there and buying, you know, Gyökeres, Isaks, you know, those types of players. He wants to buy players that he believes in, and yet you want him gone. So there's just all of that's wasted again. I don't really get it. I think you've got to give him 2-3 seasons, you know, and see where you go from there. You know, look at this Europa League run because, you know, I'm going to be honest, pressure will be on if he doesn't beat the likes of Galatasaray, Roma, Rangers away. Yeah. You know, there will be questions asked, and so therefore he will have to tinker with the side enough so that there's not, you know, there will have to be changes made. Look, we've got Man City in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. Likelihood is we won't win that game, you know, just as, you know, things, you know, well, we are playing them at home, I suppose, so we've got a chance. But I mean,
they've broke that duck now. They have beat us at home, so that's it now.
So, you know, that will mean then it's just like kind of Europa League or bust, really, to some degree. And there will be some pressure on him. But at the same time, what do you want? Do you know what I mean? We seem to have, all our fans have seen, not all of them, I won't, you know, tar them all with the same brush. Some of our fans seem to have somehow thought or realised that in their minds, we now deserve to be winning the Premier League every year or challenging to win the Premier League every year. Like, what have we ever done to, you know, stamp our right to do that? Do you know what I mean? We have to start. Exactly. Anyway, I would love that to happen. I'd love to for Ange to succeed, but we have to give it time. You know, who else do you want to come in and then try and help Mikey Moore become the next, you know, star player in this league? Because you're going to have another manager that comes in, hope that he gets the same kind of arm around his shoulder, the same kind of, you know, faith that has been shown by Ange Postecoglou, and we will go back to square one, and this will keep being repeated itself unless we give somebody time.
That's the thing. The thing is because it was very clear when the appointment was made that this was going to be a project. I'm pretty sure it was even announced like that. You know, I don't know if Daniel Levy said it specifically, but I'm sure within the club there was some kind of expression that this is a project. We need to give the project time. And I'm pretty sure, you know, eventually the fans were on board with that as well. The majority of the fans were like, look, you know what, he's a bit of a different appointment. I didn't expect him to be appointed. I expected someone with a bit more pedigree, let's say, even though he has won everything where he's gone, but people will disregard it because it's not the Premier League or it's not one of the big leagues. It's still, you know, he went to Japan and turned a team. I can't remember what team it was. But they'd never won the league, or they hadn't won the league in like 40, 50 years or something like that. And they won the league. So regardless of what country it is, that's still a massive overturn within their league. Do you know what I mean? It's not about, oh, okay, well, it's only this Japanese side. Yeah, but it's still a Japanese side that hadn't won the league in 50 years. So they still had to do some to do that. So look, it's just one of them things. We need to be patient, and it's a project, and it's, you know, like you said, I think he needs at least 3 seasons to stamp his mark on the team and the league and all that kind of stuff. So we have to just sit and be patient, and I'm willing to do that. But if anyone else isn't, then that's up to them.
Look at the league finishes. Everybody that disagrees, go and look at the league finishes of Arteta, Klopp.
Exactly.
When they came into Liverpool and Arsenal. Look how many titles they won prior to that appointment, and look how much faith they gave in those managers. And then ask yourself the same question: why do we deserve to give somebody less time? That's all I'll say.
Exactly. No, I agree.
Let's move on to Thursday night's game, because again, as you say, we've got 3 wins and 3 in Europe, and 1-0 win at home to AZ Alkmaar. Wasn't the prettiest game. You know, I sat down and watched the game, and the commentator says, be prepared for Ange Postecoglou's exciting Tottenham or whatever it was. And then it really wasn't that exciting. But, you know, we did manage to not, you know, allow a former youth player of Spurs, you know, Troy Parrott to score against us. He let me down quite a lot of money because all they needed was to have 1 shot on target. But, you know, whatever. But a player who did stink up the gaff was Timo Werner. And, you know, as much as I've given this guy, you know, as much praise as I can in as much time as I can, in my opinion, he can't continue at this football club. And I think in January it needs to be a move where we kind of cut the loan and move on and look for other options, because when his play within the team, I really like. I like, you know, one of the runs he made on Thursday night was unbelievable. But as soon as he breaks that line with that run, it's like he doesn't want to be there. It's like he doesn't really want to have the ball. And, you know, I don't know if you remember that shot, but he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he just passes it into the keeper's arms. And, you know, you just think, like, what's going on in his head?
Mate, he, like I say, we've talked about this before, and you know, I'm a striker myself. So I know when your confidence is shot in front of goal, it is bad. Like, you start doing things that you wouldn't even think about doing normally because your confidence is that low. It's almost as if like you don't know what to do. So, you know, if that's the case, which I can tell that's 100% what it is, and you can see even Ange said he's just lacking that confidence. Unfortunately, yeah, this is a cutthroat business. Like, we can't carry passengers. Do you know what I mean? We need everyone firing, and we need everyone up there. Like, you know, for example, Mikey Moore now is hitting a bit of form in terms of he looked good on Thursday, whatever. But yeah, so it's just time to cut our losses. You know, it was in my opinion, it made sense, the deal, because it was another loan deal, and then it was, you know, if we want to buy him at the end of it, it was even cheaper than the 15 million. It was about 8 or 9 million compared to what it would have been 15 if we'd have bought him the start of this season. So another loan made sense, because now we can just fucking back off if we want to. So, but at the same time, you know, I feel a bit sorry for him because do you know what? I watched a compilation of when he was it was in Leipzig, wasn't he?
Yeah, Leipzig, yeah.
I watched his Leipzig compilation and I'm like, the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, unbelievable,
You know what I mean?
it?
Like, he's insane. So you can see, like, he's been there and he's done it. So he's clearly got it in him. So I can see why it was the risk worth taking, because if you can unlock that kind of confidence that he's lacking, if you can get him back firing again, wow, you've got some player. But for some reason, something's just not sparking, whatever it is. His confidence is so low. If I'm honest, I think normally it just takes a goal. That's all it takes. It's just one goal to get you firing again. But he's had ample opportunities. And like you say, that one on Thursday, I mean, he was put in. And I mean, I think against United, I think there was twice he got put through.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got put through, I said to the people I was watching it with, I was like, he ain't scoring. And they're like, really? I went, mate, he ain't scoring. And lo and behold, he didn't. So it just looks like he tries to be too cute with it, when sometimes you just got to put your foot through it and just hope for the best. But he's just lacking in confidence, and unfortunately, I think his time's done now.
Yeah, at least 4 or 5 big chances this season, and by big chances I mean 1-on-1. You know, nobody around you type chances.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he tried going around the goalkeeper, that didn't work. You know, it's just. And I feel sorry for him as well. I never want to, like, oust somebody from this club. I never want to say, like, you know, time is done. please go. But at the same time, I don't know what else we can offer. But the beast of Tottenham Hotspur has commented saying, first time on here, Ange's system will not work without the correct players. And I agree. You need ball playing players. You need players to be able to can play with the ball. As much as I love Mickey van der Ven, he's not good with the ball, in my opinion. He's not good at the ball with his feet under pressure. No. Too lanky, too long. You look at even that back four in general, there are a couple of players that can play with the ball. My issue is that when we're under pressure, there are times when it should just be kicked long. And I get that, Ange only wants it played that way. And, as you say, it's about repetition. But there's times when, especially today, when we were under so much pressure that you just need to just kick it long a few times. So I do agree. I think that also goes on to our point about giving Ange time, because he needs that time to get the correct players in. And clearly that's not the case at the moment. But he's also said that Poco lad, Alkmaar, wasn't bad. He was actually all right, to be fair. Absolutely rapid. Did help that he was playing against Archie Gray, makeshift right back, who defensively suspect at the best of times. But I thought he was all right. Was there anybody else with AZ Alkmaar that impressed you?
To be perfectly honest, I mean, not strikingly that I would look and go, oh my god, we could do with a play like that. Like they were decent within their own rights, and I'm sure in their league they look okay, but Romero and Porro are the problem. Oh dear. But yeah, no. To be fair, they were a decent enough side. But if I'm honest, I didn't have any money. If I did have money, I would have had it on Parrott scoring 100%. I thought that was an absolute gimme. But again, kind of kept him relatively quiet, to be honest. So.
Yeah, that Poku reminded me a little bit of Jeremy Doku, to some degree. He was fast. Yeah, Poku Doku. I don't think he was too bad. I felt like no one else think the keeper looked like you just come out of school. He was the smallest keeper I think I've ever seen. And talking about keepers, Fraser Forster is absolutely ginormous, but scary. Every time he's got the ball, scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah, he just looks like it's what I imagine if I chucked a ball to my granddad's feet and he just is like just starts panicking. That's what I get like.
It's ever since he flew over the top of, I think it was Christian Romero or someone, or maybe it was Dragoshin on Coventry. Coventry, went head first over the top of him and outside the 18-yard box. I think I don't trust her anymore.
He's not a bad backup keeper, but I certainly don't want to see him in any game anytime soon if we've got Vicario fit. If Vicario's injured, then look, okay, we're gonna have to lean on him, but. Or give Austin a game for some, do you know what I mean? You never see him. I don't think I've ever seen him play for Spurs.
He's stolen a career, and I feel bad for him to some degree.
I genuinely don't think I've ever seen him play, apart from pre-season.
No, never.
Just chuck him in.
I think I've seen Whiteman play more. I think he played under Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. I think you're right, it's a weird one, keeper, though. I wouldn't mind being a sub-goal or like a third-choice goalkeeper for a Premier League.
You want more in your career, don't you?
Yeah, but you're just sitting there watching. I mean, he's basically he's got my life. He sits there, watches football, but gets paid to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's not bad.
Yeah. No, he's probably on about 10 grand a week as well.
I'm saying, give me that to watch football all day long.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know if I do want to see them actually, because I don't want to see them fuck up. But one thing I want to mention actually is about Richarlison's. Obviously, Richie's back. Weird moment on Thursday night where him and Madders decided to argue over a penalty, whereby in a game that penalty needs to go in because it's 0-0 at this point.
Of course.
And both players are getting annoyed at each other. Neither one's prepared then to take a penalty. What do you make of that? Because Madders is the captain, but surely there's a list of penalty takers. So whoever's on the pitch is whoever's the highest on that list is on the pitch to take it.
Yeah, it's like FIFA, and everyone's got their penalty stat. Regardless of who's on the pitch, the person with the best penalty stat, you're going to put on your penalties, aren't you? So look, I don't mind it because I like that they both wanted to take the glory, to put us 1-0 up and stuff like that. But at the same time, it just looks a bit shitty, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's a talking point. You get people arguing over it. But I must admit. Obviously, Madders in the end. There's the video which I'm sure we've all seen where he's standing there with the ball in his hand, and you can see him thinking, he's ticking it over in his brain. And you just see him go, And he like walks over to Richie with the ball and gives it to him. I like that. I like the fact he's done that. And and again, like I liken it to I've never played professional, but I'm a striker myself. If I'm just coming back from injury, it's my job to score goals. I want that penalty. I want to get back in, back on the score sheet, back in the game, back in everything. So I'm glad that he did that. And I think as the captain at the time, I think Madders made the best choice because it was a decent penalty, to be fair. He didn't have to do
really, really composed penalty, wasn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
Pretty impressed.
So that's what So look, he made. I don't like to see it really. It's funny when you see other teams doing it, and you're like, oh my god, that's hilarious. It's even funnier when people argue over it. Someone eventually gets it and then misses the penalty. Yeah, that's the best one. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But yeah, I'd like
to have heard from Ange actually, because I'd like to know who is on that list. Because as I said, I bet there's like number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. And then I'd like to know whether Madders just wanted it, or Richie just wanted. Do you know what I mean?
Someone did ask Ange about it.
Did they?
Yeah, they asked him about it, and they said, it must have been the one after the game where they said along the lines of, obviously we saw Maddison and Richarlison both arguing over the ball. What do you kind of make of that? And in true Ange fashion, he said, "I don't care who takes it as long as they score."
Yeah.
Which is true. Do you know what I mean? You don't care who takes it, but yeah, I think the right decision was made in the end. But I don't mind them both wanting to take it.
The Beast of Tottenham Hotspur said Richie needs to stop that celebration though. But what I'd like to know is why. Like, let us know in the comments why do you not like or want him to stop. That's just his celebration, isn't it?
Yeah. It's iconic as well.
What's it to do with? Obviously, it's a pigeon, but I mean, like, why?
I don't know.
No, just wonder why he wants him to stop it.
Let us know what. Do a bit of research. Let us know why you want him to stop it, but also let us know what it's about and what it is. Yeah, we ain't got a fucking clue.
No, talking about cups, even though we weren't talking about cups, Carabao Cup on Wednesday night.
Yep.
Annoyingly, I'm going to be out on Wednesday night. I'm going to a gig, which is not ideal, to be honest. I know, but I know.
Probably doing yourself a favour. Let's be honest.
This is the issue with gigs, right? You book them this was booked 7-8 months in advance. You have no idea the football's on the Wednesday night at that time. So I have no idea what happens. But I'm thinking we might get beat, but I'm not sure.
You never know. It's one of them. Obviously we had that kind of that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium hoodoo over Man City, but that's broken now because obviously they beat us in the cup last year. So and interestingly, we probably should have won that game as well when we played them in the cup last year. So look, it depends. I say it depends what 11 they put out. I don't think it matters, to be perfectly honest. But I remember when the draw was made, before the draw was made, actually, they talked to what's his name, Guardiola. They were talking about the next round of the cup because they had just got through, and he did say, "I'm putting my worst team, not my worst team." He said, "I'm going to put a load of I'm going to put my third team out." Basically, that's what he said. He said that before the tie. So I don't know if what the correlation was between asking him and why he said that, but he wasn't
joking. To do with player welfare, isn't it? He's big on that.
Yeah. So I think he said, "I'm going to put the youth team out," basically. So if he does that, then I'll give us a chance because I imagine, I don't know really, but I would imagine with it being a Wednesday and then we play Villa on Sunday, there's a bit of a break. So I reckon he might go full strength, to be honest.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because the fans will want him to win that game, but at the same time, he's going to realise the league's really important. We've got Villa at the weekend, so that in your head, sitting here now, you can only win one of those games. Which one do you want to win?
Aston Villa.
Interesting. Just so we can get higher in the league.
I don't know actually. It's a bit of a difficult one. Maybe I just jumped into that answer.
I was thinking Villa as well. To be fair, I was thinking Villa.
Yeah, I would do because I actually, I'm from the Midlands, so I've got a lot of Aston Villa supporting friends, and they're just pissing me off, to be perfectly honest. They're getting a bit too big for their boots. Rightfully so. They're doing very, very well in the league. They're doing brilliant in the Champions League as well. But I heard whispers the other day. If we keep this up, there's no reason why we can't win the league. And for me, at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm out of this conversation now. So that probably sways my decision to want to beat Villa more than City. But arguably, if we beat Man City, then we've knocked the best team out of the competition. So, we're probably one step closer to having a chance of winning a trophy, which is what we want. But we have got a massive kind of schedule with the Europa League. There's so many, there's so many more games in the Europa League this year than there was previous years. So could we do with an extra game trying to fit in somewhere? I don't know. And we'll probably get like Chelsea away in the next round anyway, and we'll go out. So we might as well just go out of this one.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because, fans will be screaming at the screen now saying, well, we want to win this Carabao Cup, so we need to beat them. But at the same time, I want this manager to last as long as possible. So if that means we've got to, do better in the league, the Premier League should be a priority in terms of getting back into the Champions League. But at the same time, as you say, if you can beat the best team in the competition and hope that the others go out earlier stages, then you've got a chance. You never know. But let's hope that, come out of this gig on Wednesday and we've beaten City.
If I'm honest, I don't even know who the other big teams have got, like if there could be any other potential exits, but I think it's irrelevant. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any like shocking ties. Like I think all of the big, let's call them the big six. I think all of them should get through, if I remember rightly, from the draw.
But the Carabao Cup, 1 sec.
But like I say, it's a cup competition. You want to get as far as you can, but
Brighton at home to Liverpool.
Okay.
Manchester United at home to Leicester.
Yeah, that's
Newcastle at home to Chelsea.
Oh, okay. Do you know what? Maybe I was wrong.
Arsenal away to Preston.
That was the one. That was yeah.
And then Villa at home to Palace.
Okay, so they're all Premier League ties. So anything could happen. But you know what? Yeah, I was going to say we could change my complete opinion. If we can beat City, and then we look at the other results, and let's say Brighton have beat Liverpool, and a couple of others. Palace have managed to beat Villa, whoever it was. So you could be looking a bit more rosy, and then I could be like, okay, yeah, maybe I wanted to beat City more than I did Villa, but I don't know. It's a difficult one to ask, to be honest.
Yeah, I want us to win it all, every game.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to happen, is it?
No, win it all. That's what I say. Here's a question: what would you rather? Would you rather do well in Europe or well in the cup, like domestic cup?
Europe all day, all day. And do you know what? We're obviously favourites to win the Europa League. I think we're going to?
Why?
I don't know. Probably just again, it probably goes on like coefficient points. They probably judge it by that, if I'm honest. But do I think we're going to win it? No. But do I think we're going to get quite far? I do think we're going to get quite far. But looking at who's in there, who's going to beat us, I don't know. But it'd take a good team to beat us. But I mean, we've got a difficult run as well. Rangers away, that's going to be difficult, regardless of how they're not amazing Rangers, but just Ibrox is going to be a difficult place to go. Galatasaray away, that's going to be fucking difficult, and Roma at home, that's going to be difficult. But thankfully, we've got 9 out of 9, so we've set ourselves up.
I think Galatasaray is the next one, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Let me double check. But I think if we can beat Galatasaray, then I think we can worry. We don't probably need to worry. 12. Don't think we need too much to worry about. In a certain sense, the next 2 games, it's just really important, I think, to get one of those big ties against either Roma or Galatasaray. Probably, we should have enough in us to. Yeah, Galatasaray is the next Thursday.
Yeah.
Then we've got Roma. Still on the hunt for any Rangers tickets if anyone's got any, because it'd be quite handy for me. But putting that out there into the atmosphere.
I'll keep my eyes open.
Thanks, mate. I think as long as we win one of those big ties, we should.
I would love a good European push, because regardless, I know we want to do it through the league, but we win the Europa League, back in the Champions League. So it's not a pointless I know it's not pointless competition anyway, but there's still a lot at stake. We're not just winning a Europa League trophy; we are actually gaining Champions League. I'm pretty sure you still got to qualify for it, but we should be able to do that comfortably anyway. So there is, there's a lot at stake, and I do love a European competition. So
you know what it is for me? If we win the Carabao Cup, right, it won't matter to some fans. Some rival fans will say, "Oh, you only won the Carabao Cup."
Yeah.
If we go out a certain fan base, we go and win a Europa League before they've won any Europa League.
I wonder who you're talking about.
There'd be no reason then for anyone to say, "Oh, but there's only this." So, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
All that goes away, and I think Spurs would be a much freer club without that. As silly as it sounds, without that surrounding them at all times. You know?
Yeah, because let's address the elephant in the room. We haven't won a trophy since 2008. We're aware of that. Do you not think we want to win a trophy? Of course, we want to win a trophy. But there's teams out there that you're probably quite surprised that they haven't won a trophy for even longer than us. So look, it's one of them things. Do we want to win a trophy? Of course we do. But realistically, we're not. We're probably, in my opinion, like 5th, 6th, maybe even 7th best team in the country. So we can't expect to win trophies all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Top 6 is probably where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to get ahead of ourselves, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
Right. Let's talk about score predictions from today.
That's a good shout, that. Let's do that.
And everyone will be like, "Why is Winnie so happy about this?" Well, for the last however many weeks, Winnie has been sat at the top of the league with 6 points, and he hasn't predicted his own score for at least a month. Maybe
God
longer.
Bless the wheel.
And for those that follow regularly, if you don't put your score in before the start of the show, then you get the famous wheel and it predicts your score for you.
Yeah.
Winnie had that last week, and Winnie got 1-0 Palace. Now, if anybody lives under a rock and realizes that actually that was a correct score, so the wheel has given Winnie a correct score. Everybody else has got 0 points. So that's me with a 3-0 Spurs win, Dave with a 3-1 Spurs win, Callum with a 2-1 Spurs win, and Wes with a 3-0 Spurs win.
There's a slight gap
table, but that is going to stick Winnie on 9 points, 4 points ahead of Wes, 5 ahead of Dave, and 6 ahead of me and Callum. Wow. How do you feel about
that? If I'm honest, I want the wheel to continue to pick my results now for the rest of the season. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But do you know what? I was a bit sad, actually, because everybody that's not on the show today has already given their scores. So I was a bit sad about not using the wheel. But, we could maybe get it back out if you want.
No. Look, I'll pick my own one this week.
Okay,
and
so
terrible.
Everybody in the chat, it's been a bit quiet in the chat today. There's been quite a few of you there, but a little bit quiet. So get your score predictions in for the Aston Villa game. And Johnny, I'm sure you're still watching. Are you keeping score? Are you keeping track of your points tally? I'd like to know where you're at. I won this league last season, and now I'm rock bottom with Callum. So I need to step up with my score predictions, and it might reflect in this week's pick.
Here we go.
So get your Aston Villa score predictions in. We will chat through some of the other lads. But quickly, do you reckon we'll do all right against Villa?
I don't know, because similar to Crystal Palace, the momentum has to shift at some point, and Villa are on such a high at the minute. It has to go down at some point. They can't continue this positive elevation of performances. So could that be us? Could we be the team to kind of rock it? Maybe. But I just don't know which Tottenham are going to turn up. Thankfully, it's at home. That if it was away at Villa Park, again, I feel like because especially their fans are well up for it at the minute because of how well they're doing. So thankfully, it's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so I give us a bit more of an advantage. But I don't really know how it's going to go. And you say this now, I'm still trying to think about what my score is going to be because I'm torn between 2 scores and I don't know which one to go for. So it's a difficult one. I think it'll be a difficult game, but can we beat them? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the annoying thing is it's not directly after a Champions League match because they haven't won a game after a Champions League match this season. So it's a shame that it's not. We've got a few score predictions in. Beast of Tottenham has said 3-1 to Spurs. Jay has said 3-2 Spurs. Villa have been good. Yeah, that's it so far. Let us know anybody else that's got their score predictions in. Right, let's go through the other lads' score predictions while we're here. So Dave has gone for a Desmond 2-2.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay.
Pretty good score, to be fair. Wes has gone for a 3-2 Spurs win, same as Jay. And Callum has gone for the same score as well. 3-2 Spurs win. Both going for 5-goal thrillers. I'm torn. I'm very torn.
What are you torn between? Are you torn between scores or just torn between what to choose?
No, torn between 2 scores.
Okay, here, let's hear them. Let's hear both.
1-0 Villa.
Yeah.
Or 1-1 draw. I've just lost all positivity, to be honest, today.
Oh God.
I'm going to go 1-1 because you know me. Can't back against Spurs.
Yeah, that's about as positive as you can be, I guess.
Yeah,
without you're trying to be negative.
That's as negative as I can get, to be honest.
Brilliant.
1-1 draw. What are you thinking?
I'm also torn between two. I'm torn between a Desmond and I'm torn between 2-1 Villa. But because there's already a Desmond in there,
you're a man not afraid to bet against your own team.
Let's be honest. I'm not scared to bet against my own team. I've got a few points to play with. Let's be honest. I'm quite lonely at the top, so let's go. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Villa. I don't like to pick the same as other people. So,
right. If anyone wants to go to your house with pitchforks, DM me on Twitter. I'll send Winnie's address.
That's fine.
I'm joking. I will not. He won't give me his address. But anyway,
be some company to be honest.
Yeah, look. So to wrap those scores up, I've gone for a 1-1 draw. You've gone for a 2-1 Villa win. Dave's gone for a 2-2 draw. Wes has gone for a 3-2 Spurs win, and Callum has also gone for a 3-2 Spurs win. So we will update you next week with some scores, and hopefully we're back to talk about a little Carabao Cup win against Manchester City, but only time will tell. Look, thanks to everybody that's tuned in tonight. Really do appreciate it. Just so we can update a few of you, at some point in the near, maybe more distant future, we will have some more FIFA streams. A couple of things that we're working on as well. We're trying to work on how to sort out a better format and how we're going to do it and so on. So we will be updating you in the coming weeks on when that will get sorted. But Winnie, thank you again. How can everybody find you?
Yeah, Winnie1991 on Twitter, and obviously on here, more regular than I have been now, hopefully. Also, I am on Holly's show, I think, on the 11th of November. So obviously, I'm sure everyone's subscribed to her anyway, but if not, please go and do that and then check me out on there as well.
Yeah, amazing. I was trying to get drafted in actually as a last minute sub for tomorrow night. Just had a few people drop out, but you know me, too busy and
you're a busy man.
So if you need me, you need to give me at least 48 hours notice. That's my my rules. Anyway, you can check me out, Luke_Park Lane, but more importantly, check us out on Park Lane Podcast across all social media platforms. Thanks again to everybody that's tuned in, all the regulars, everybody that listens to our podcast platforms, and every single one of you 1,000+ subscribers that's click subscribe button. But we do need more of you. So last week we had 461 views on our last video, and yet we gained about 1 subscriber. So, click the button anyway. Even if you don't like it, click it and never watch it again. We'd really appreciate it. Until then, till next time, we wish you a great week and a massive come on, you Spurs.
Come on.